What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. By popular demand, i.e. a rat-slide victory in our community poll, the nuke-obsessed war criminal, Ikit Claw. You guys clamored for nukes, and so nukes there shall be shortly. A couple quick things before we get started. First, if you enjoy this content and want to see it updated regularly, don't forget to drop your likes and comments for the algorithm down below, as scheduling is tied to engagement. As always, a huge shout out to you guys for all your comments and support. YouTube's my hobby, as many of you know, and your comments keep it fun and keep the channel alive. Lastly, we're going to take a quick look at the faction and the campaign difficulty setup so you guys know what we're getting into here, but do feel free to skip to gameplay via the timestamp / chapters down below. Anyway, factions effects, we get the access to the Forbidden Workshop of Clan Skryre, which means upgrades for our weapons teams and various other things. We get a plus 20% research rate increase for the faction, which makes sense considering it's Clan Skryre, and a little bit of extra loyalty, though in my experience these things are kind of useless because it's very rare for anybody to rebel. Plus a construction cost reduction for engineer buildings, which is pretty significant as the buildings otherwise can be pretty damn expensive. Finally, the Lord effect for Ikit himself is going to be a 50% half reduction on Warplog Jezzail's rattling guns and warp fire thrower teams on that upkeep, which is pretty damn solid, and even if it does pigeonhole Ikit's army into using certain compositions, that's also true of pretty much every lord, so not that crazy. Otherwise, in terms of difficulty, we're going to go very hard on the battle and campaign. As for the endgame, we're going to set it to 150. I have no idea what exactly this means. I imagine it's 150% of whatever the base is, but otherwise it's just meaningless numbers. Last time I had it at standard, so let's try it 150 this time. Though I am going to switch the turn timer range to 125 and 135. I really would like for the extra few turns to get a little bit more Undercity set up, as otherwise we wouldn't be able to enjoy that particular mechanic nearly as much. Finally, in terms of what our endgame scenarios are going to be, what I want is to do this. A Grudge Too Far and the Biggest Wah together at the same time. I think we gotta go for a classic Warhammer 3-way, which is gonna be Skaven versus Orcs versus Dwarfs, all happening at the same time. We're gonna be the Vermintide in this scenario, though Vermintide with nukes, I think, should prove superior. I think that'll be pretty fun, and that's about it, so let's get started and let's get nuking.
No devastation like Ikit's devastation. Yes, yes.
Alrighty, well, Ikit seems surprisingly like a rat of few words based on that little opening speech, but fortunately, I would imagine that Clan Skryre prefers to let their nukes and do the talking. Speaking of nukes, how Clan Skryre players are able to construct Doom Rockets, or Warpstorm Doom Rockets specifically, not little mini Doom Rockets, via Warp Fuel canisters, which we can pick up as our unique currency via battles, hero actions, missions, and workshop upgrades, and then spend them in our Forbidden Workshop where we can upgrade our weapons teams and all that sort of thing. We also can establish undercities like any good Skaven, and that's one of the reasons, as I said, that I'd like the extra few turns there, just to establish a little bit of an under empire before the game goes topsy-turvy with the end is nigh endgame scenarios. We also have to watch out for food, as Skaven are ravenous and it's difficult to acquire any food, and well, the black corn under Skaven Blight isn't going to feed everybody, and nobody likes it anyway. And lastly, Skaven corruption and underway stance, pretty standard. We can jump around with our underway stance, and we got that Skaven corruption, which will allow us to summon clan rats via the Menace Below bound ability. Food's obviously going to be the main issue here, and it is also the thing that allows us to recruit stuff. Hey, a free mysterious island. Recruit stuff, or recruit settlements that's not the word, colonize settlements at higher levels, which is nice. Alrighty, so Ikit, it looks like we're starting off at war with Tobaro, or with Estalia in general, and this puts the immediate question as to where exactly we go. Currently we have two directions, either through Telia or through Estalia, but then afterwards we could also go north through Carcassonne if we jump over the mountains through Underway Stance. We could go this way through Clan Angrand, presumably because they will destroy Broken Nose fairly quickly, and then we got this way afterwards to go through the Border Princes. We could also technically, I think, go south through the coast of Araby if we wanted to and face off against Rapunz and Arcan if we don't want to friendinize him, which I swear is a word. Generally speaking, I tend to think that Telia and Sartosa are probably the way to go, partly because the vampiric corruption is kind of annoying, and partly because I would imagine that Estalia is going to get destroyed by the Beastmen here, and if it does, it'll just be a bunch of ruins which we can take for ourselves whenever we please, and the same with destroying the Beastmen, who can also keep the Bretonnians off our backs while we do whatever we please over here. At least that's the way I think, but I'm not entirely sure whether it'll survive contact with the enemy, and the plan that is, so we'll have to see. Now, let's take a quick look at the Forbidden Workshop before we jump into our first little battle here. Doom Wheels, Weapons Teams, Doom Flayers. Okay, so pretty unlikely we'll be upgrading any of those, though, well, actually, Weapons Teams, potentially. Actually, Ikit, what do you have in your army, my friend? You have a single unit of Giselles, 2 Rattling Guns, and a Doom Flayer. Okay, well, that tells me that we could potentially upgrade the Rattling Guns. Also, we should be able to get early access to, let's see, Warp Fire Throwers are pretty quick, they're tier 2, so there's potential for that. So we could upgrade those guys and put a bunch into Ikit's army. I believe he reduces their cost anyway, so that is an option. And of course we can get the other stuff at tier 3, so more Giselles and more Rattling Guns. So yeah, those upgrades could be potentially usable very early. Now, there is a way, as I recall, I don't know the exact methodology here, but basically abandon Skaven Blight and then retake it at like tier 3 or 4 by saving up a bunch of food. I'm not going to bother with that. We can just grow Skaven Blight the regular way. It seems kind of cheesy. I don't feel like the Council of 13 would let us burn down Skaven Blight to recolonize it. But then again, what do I know? Maybe they'd be willing to relocate if Skaven Blight were to be rebuilt. Who knows? But yeah, we're not going to bother with that. We can do that to, for example, Miragliano or Sartosa if we choose to attack these guys. Also, you, our Warlock Engineer, he has Discipline. Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting. We should send you to set up some Undercities, but Disciplined is actually pretty damn good, though potentially not in Ikit's army, as the melee attack is kind of wasted. We may actually bring you back at some point, but let's get you into Ikit's army for now, and we'll send you out afterwards. Now, if we're not going to do anything with Skaven Blight, i.e. we're not going to resettle it, we can start upgrading it immediately. Then, to unlock the techs, Ferocious Plans and Devious Plans, we need Rubbish Pit, Rattling Warrens. I suppose technically we'd want both, wouldn't we? Numbers Beyond Counting, upkeep production for Skaven slaves. I guess we want Devious Plans and then Numbers Beyond Counting immediately for the 33% reduction to Skaven slave cost early. And yeah, they're already super cheap, but we might as well make them cheaper. Ideally, essentially, free. Okie dokie. Well, that's all great, but let's have a little bit of a fight here, shall we? Or do we want to upgrade the Rattling Guns first? I doubt that we'll need them. You know what we could upgrade, though? As I recall, under Empire Silos, Kill Experiment Field, aha, Toxic Waste Salvage, plus 100% chance to recover warp fuel after using a Doom Rocket in battle. Now, it's fairly unlikely that we will be... Oh, you just click it and... Okay, there's no confirmation? Okay, well, now that's upgraded, my bad. But I was going to take that anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, when we use our Doom Rocket, at least we'll recover our fuel. And then I guess we'll want to get Refined Warpstone for that extra 25% chance to build a Doom Rocket whenever we build our first Doom Rocket. So gotta keep that in mind. As for the weapons teams, Rattling Guns have onboard Waste Compactor. Passive ability Endless Drum, newfangled invention for ammunition replenishment. You know, that sounds useful, but how much ammunition do these guys actually waste? You know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll do our first little battle cinematically, just for fun, so that we can watch our units rip the enemy apart. But we'll also keep an eye on the ammunition that the Ratling guns have. If they're very wasteful with it, we're going to get that upgrade early on. Well, let's jump into a battle just for fun here, and then we'll proceed with the plan afterwards.
Yes, fine!
Alrighty, here we go. This battle's probably gonna take all of, I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that, as it is the first unlosable battle that the game saddles you with, but it's been far too long since I've played Skaven and thus seen weapon teams of my own, and I just love to watch them get down to it. You heard me. So the Warplock Jezzails are going to open up first by trying to gun down the enemies, and we're already in range with our Ratling gunners as well. And we do want to keep an eye on their ammunition as well. And now, as we can see, the enemy's already taking quite a bit of damage. We've also popped a brass orb right in the middle of the enemy formation. It is quite a lovely effect as well, isn't it? And this is the regular bound version, not the upgraded version. Plus, like many Vortex spells, it does suck enemies in, which prevents them from running away, and thus opens up another opportunity to cast our first Warp Lightning. Gonna be so much Warp Lightning spam throughout this campaign, so we better get used to this combo in particular. There we go, right into the enemies. Very nice. And the enemy has not yet tried to approach us. In fact, I'm not entirely sure that this AI knows what to do here. Ikit's approached him a little bit just to try to get a few of his flamethrower attacks out as well, or warp fire attacks out. And there we go. Now the enemy look to be approaching. Oh, those poor spearmen getting absolutely ripped apart. It gets burninating, folks, and actually doing quite a bit of damage by the looks of it. Looks like quite a few models went down to that one shot. Keep it up, Ratling guns. Yeah, look at that poor enemy army. They're getting nowhere near. Ooh, they're actually starting to approach Ikit, though not the rest of our battle line. Ouch. Oh, man. And I do believe that's just about it. Just like that, the entire enemy army rats. I even sent the Doomflayers around in the hopes of attacking the crossbows there. But they never reached the enemy battle line because the enemy just got ripped apart far, far too fast. Alrighty, well, that's great. I'm sure we'll have a much tougher battle at the first actual enemy we hit, like actually proper enemy we hit, very shortly. Alrighty, well, you can't say that the weapons teams don't do good work early on. Damn, those poor Estalians. 0 losses and not even a single Skaven slave sacrificed. Maybe Ikit should just kill a few, just in case they don't, so that they aren't afraid of running into our guns, thinking that we won't be using them as fodder. Anyway, let's sack the place, I want to say. 835. We don't actually potentially want to borrow, although maybe we do. Okay, wait. Here's what we do. We sack it first. 835. Yeah, that's fine. Sack it first. Man, thing, slave. Income from all buildings, local region. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Then, I'm just thinking, do we want that ammo after all? Maybe we do. It didn't seem to be depleted that badly, but that was a very short battle. Against the full stack of enemies, it might be a lot more contentious. Now, Rattling Wars, oh damn, I forgot which one we wanted. Devious Plans is a Rubbish Pit. Okay, so here's what we do. We'll build a Rubbish Pit here. And oh, Growth is out of Rattling Warrens, so maybe we want that first. Also, what are our schemes here? All right, I remember there's the dominating scheme, the thing that you gotta use constantly, as I recall from the previous time I played Skaven with Snitch, I believe. This right will unlock after issuing the expansionist planning commandment over a province. Okie dokie, so with some kind of commandment. This we don't care about, although the Skryre clanstone, or the Skryre clanstone may be useful in certain situations, but rank 7 with faction leader should be fairly quick. Unique plague priest for pestilence scheme and the scheme of doom. Okay, so spread plagues and spread, spread doom via exploding stuff. 3 technologies and unlocking the pestilent knave. Okay, well that should be fairly easy. Now, several things we want to do here. First of all, Warlock Master. Ooh, hello. Upkeep -12 for warp fire throwers, warp lightning cannons, and doom wheels, you say. Ooh, and tough. Oh, I like both of these. You're only at 2 to 7, but the upkeep reduction, especially early on, could be quite useful, especially as... You know what, let's take Charge Lock for now. I am kind of tempted to get the tough guy as well, though. Damn. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll get another tough guy. Charge Lock here, and this is the plan. We're going to actually take Tobaro. I was thinking perhaps we will want to sack it repeatedly if we don't want this particular territory, but instead, we're going to loot and occupy it at level 1, because we may abandon it later. And the reason to do this is so that we can also build Skaven slaves here and Skaven slaves here at the same time. And I guess we could build clan rats as well if we wanted to. Do we want to pay for clan rats right now? Probably not. Get some Skaven slave spears because they have the higher melee defense, even if they have the lower melee attack. They're also very, very slightly more expensive, though. So that's an issue. Do we want to bother repairing the port here? It's going to cost us 550 to rebuild it. Port ruined. I don't know what that... How much money will it generate? You're not being very helpful right now, game. I get that the building is ineffective. What does it do, damn it? What if we do this? And it still doesn't say... Game. I'm gonna have to assume that it's half of 150, so 15 growth and 30... I mean, we'll probably just uncollect the income here, so you know what, just leave it as it is. We just need the place to be able to construct Skaven slaves. Yeah, you know what, screw it. Let's just get that upgrade. Weapons teams, onboard waste compactor. I want to see if this is in fact infinite ammo, and oh, this just went up. What does this do? Kill 1,000 enemies. Should be very easy, in fact, next battle. Ensure that the following building has been constructed. Warpstone tractor beam. I take it that's the unique building in our capital in Skavenblight, and then use a doom rocket in battle. Okay, well, that should be easy enough as well. And then we can recover the fuel and rebuild it immediately. Oh, I kind of now regret this. As in getting that upgrade, because we may not have enough warp fuel. Not entirely sure. To rebuild immediately. But either way, I believe that's all we can do for the first turn. We do want to get Root Marcher. Wait. Question. I think we should be able to hit Miragliano. Although, it really depends on what this guy does. We want to hit Miragliano early. Let's go for, well, once again, those Skaven Slave Spears. Oh, actually, no. You're gonna get Skaven Slave Slingers. You're gonna get the Spears to come in as reinforcements. You are going to just get... Let's get Inspiring Presence for now. I don't know what... wait. Or do we get another point in Warp Lightning? Very, very useful in sieges. You know what? Screw it. Go for Warp Lightning. Max it out. Well, not max it out yet, but you gotta love Warp Lightning. One of my favorite spells in the game. It's just so damn spammable. Alright, and I believe with that we're good to go. Damage building commandment available. I believe it said expansionist something? Ah yes, expansionist planning. And also reduces construction cost. And then, ooh, we gotta switch to the exploitative planning after that. I remember in the Sinich campaign just having everybody on that constantly. Because the food is gonna be an issue. Alrighty, let's end the turn. Like so. We should also double-check about any potential allies. Now, I would imagine we're going to attack Sartosa, who have clearly already taken a territory, and aha, and the Beastmen are starting to get to work as well. Yeah, Estalia is most likely going to get destroyed by the Beastmen, but I don't think the Beastmen are a threat to us, and oh, hello, did you just run away from Miragliano? Dominating scheme, yes. Now, I take it that Ikit has siege attacker.
Sorcery.
Yes, indeed, he does. Right there. So we could attack Miragliano at any point. In fact, we could do so right now. The question is this sufficient troops to do so? I'm gonna hope that it is. Gonna be a really, really quick take here. And also be a lot less Skaven slaves because we won't be able to continue building with charge lock, but may still be decent. Alrighty. I'd love to stop by at the Silent, but I don't know whether we'll still be able to reach Miragliano after, so I'd rather not risk it, I think. Because going to Miragliano is what? It's 31%, so we still have a little bit. We could try it. This seems like a bad idea. You know what? No, well, I'm not gonna risk it. We'll come back to it, I'm sure. So here's what we do. Now, you're not at war with anybody, right? No. Well, actually, you are at war with the Sartosans. Would you be willing to let us attack Telia and give us some cash? 200 cash. Not even bothering with that. And I know it is a little bit of cash, but it's probably not worth the potential reputation hit that we might take by being friends with these guys. Ferocious plans for you. And to Miragliano we go immediately. And then we'll send you out to get some cities established afterward. In fact, we should probably get you specialist, but we'll do that after another point in Warp Lightning. Like so. Alright, looks good to me. And ooh, immediately let's use the dominating scheme for that extra growth and that extra food. Perform right. And that's a lot of our money. We'll need to be careful. Hence the usefulness of the island there. Alright, now you. Sail out. Maybe we could do it. I suppose, you know what? At the end of the day, if this fails, as in we can't actually go to Miragliano, what we could then instead do is go back to Tobaro and get another turn of slaves. Yeah, fine, let's do that. 'Tis a risk. Let's go. Army will perform better on campaign. Shiny boots and fresh recruits. What do we get? Press ganged, and hello, what do we have here? Well, Shadow Magnet Trinket, missile resistance 10, and passive missile block chance for all allies in range. Huh, kind of interesting. And yeah, we can't reach Tobar. Okay, fine. That's fine. Annoying, but more or less fine, because we'll just do this. You're gonna go back here. I was hoping for like 5,000 cash out of that. Oh well. Let's get more Skaven Slave spears on you, and then let's get... You need Skaven Slave spears. Let's get one spear unit to send at the gate, and then 2 more slingers. Like so. We'll most likely actually switch the slingers and the Skaven Slave spears around between these 2 armies next turn. Okie dokie. Damage building we don't care about, end the turn, and then let's hit Miragliano next. I wonder if Ruinous is going to hit Rifrafa immediately. Let's find out. Hopefully that army doesn't move back into Miragliano immediately. But hey, at least we got a free item out of it. And I don't see any army there, so it should be ours. Alright, beautiful. Ferocious plans. We can continue going through numbers beyond counting, though we'll try to get devious plans as soon as we get that upgrade.
Yes, no, yes!
Yeah. And how's the growth here? That's actually okay. We should be able to get the tier 3 Skaven Blight fairly easily like this. So you're going to move out to Miragliano. And we're going to have you declare war shortly. As in right now. Declare war. And attack. Alright, what do we have here? Nah, it's not a very good garrison. I don't think we'll even need the menace below. Continue like this. Then we shall take charge lock over here and we'll jump him right beside us. Hey, right there. Lovely. Gotta have that extra Skaven slave stack to act as cannon fodder for all of our weapons teams. Alrighty, and with that we'll jump into hopefully what is a proper cinematic battle, as the enemy should actually put up something of a fight here. Let's get to it. Alright, you couldn't quite hear what Ikit said there. Scamper, perhaps? Scamper directly into battle, and doesn't matter, I suppose. Here we go. This battle should be at least a little bit more difficult than the battle against Miragliano at Tobaro, as the enemy does have some defenses to hide behind and a somewhat decent number of troops. We do certainly outnumber them, but our numbers are mostly Skaven slaves who are going to have to shine in this particular battle. Now, as for the battle, as we can see, unfortunately, the enemy has a blind spot in this particular map. No towers to defend them over on this side, and thus this is exactly where we're going to attack. The Skaven Slave Slingers are going to move up the hill and start arcing over those walls to start killing all those crossbows, as they're the major threat on the field, and then we're going to send up some Skaven Slaves, a couple units here on top of the walls to distract the enemy so that our Skaven Slave Slingers can continue to dish out damage and our Warp Lightning spam can hit the units on the walls. It's such a great spell for wall work, so should be pretty nice. Obviously, Ikit himself, as well as our Warlock Engineer, temporary though he is in this army, are going to head towards the gate together with the Doom Players, while the rest of our units simply head up the hill, though our Clan Rats, as well as our weapon teams, are going to hang back and bide their time until the gates are open and that they can apply their relatively elite natures to the enemy. And the Skaven Slave Slingers begin a-slingin'. There we go. All the enemy crossbowmen have actually moved off the walls, though more enemy moving off the walls means more enemies blobbing up and another brass orb starts bloodying them here, though we did forego dropping a Warp Lightning on them just to save some for some more wall work. Looks like the gate is actually almost down already, and the enemy is going to try to react to our Skaven Slaves on top of the walls, which is not going to go too well for them. Our Giselles are actually trying to fire, although their shots are just not going to go through the Merlins here, but that's okay. They do have decent amounts of ammunition. They're actually probably more likely to kill our poor Skaven Slaves that are going up the walls than anything else. And there we go, a hit of Warp Lightning on top of these crossbowmen. They're just about to rout and are considerably damaged from the slingers as well, just like this unit here. Nearly done with those crossbows. On top of all this, and I don't know whether this is this is unique to this battle or this map or whatever, for whatever reason, our Skaven reinforcements have tunneled into the city and have moved directly inside, rather than coming in off of one of the edge of the field or the edge of the map. I don't know why this happened. I'm kind of at a loss for words, although it is kind of beautiful and does make sense that the Skaven actually tunneled directly into the city. Unfortunately for the defenders, it means that their Victory Plaza, which is right here, is completely unopposed, and we're going to be able to take it. Not that it seems that we actually need to do so here, as the enemy's already getting quite wrecked. We're taking a little bit of damage to our Skaven Slave Slingers and some of those units, but it's all obviously kind of irrelevant. And there we go. Keep working it, Slingers, and let's watch some of those Warp Lightnings continue to hit. And crossbows are just about done once again. And once they're out of the picture, the enemy will be no threat anymore. And look, they're getting some swordsmen up here as well. The halberdiers are in a pretty precarious position here, of course, because the arcing Skaven Slave Slingers are going to be dishing out a lot of damage to them, especially as they're unshielded. Warp Lightning's also not going to be helping matters too much. Very nice. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, I gotta give it a try later, I think you can actually use the Brass Orb on top of walls as well. So between Brass Orb and the lightning spams, we've got quite an advantage in wall fighting, even if it's just with sending Skaven Slaves up there. There we go. These guys will be cleared off the walls very shortly. Beautiful, and Ikit's now in the city. The rest of the units are just going to give it a little bit of time. I don't want to send too many in while there are still enemies fighting on top of the walls, because we can just allow them to fight there. This is definitely to our advantage, because they have to take so much damage just to try to hold these walls. If we were to send in too many units, the enemy might react to that and be fighting down there instead, which would be a little bit less advantageous for us. But now it looks like they're all just about to run, so Ikit could head in and probably be followed by a few other units like our Warlock Engineer, our Doom Flayers rather, and our additional units of Skaven Slaves. In addition, in the background we can see that the Victory Plaza has been captured with our 6 Skaven Slave spear units, and they can hold ground if any enemy reinforcements arrive just fine by virtue of sheer numbers. Though it looks like even without the Victory Plaza having been captured, we can clearly see that the enemy troop count has been pretty heavily reduced, whereas we've only lost about 200 troops. The balance of power has shifted to about 85% or so in our favor, and the enemy should be done for fairly shortly. Doomflayers are also going to move in and try to capture this minor supply location, as this is the main one and actually has 3 towers tied to it. If they are to lose it, well, they could actually have a 4th tower tied to it, but 3 towers currently built. If they lose it, that's basically all their defenses as well. Now, Ikit is actually just going to move into the city as there's nothing else to fight here at the moment, so I guess we can watch these Skaven Slaves charge some crossbows a little bit. This volley is probably gonna hurt. There we go. But the rest can move in just fine. And oh, they're in Skryre away already. They're wavering very, very quickly, but fortunately now they should be able to stick around, as the enemy is only crossbow units. And I think this is the only unit that the enemy has here. They do send some more, but those guys will never reach the Victory Plaza in time. Not that it would have mattered, because the rest of our army has taken the walls, taken the minor supply, or will have taken it very shortly, and the battle should be just about ours. Beautiful. Oh, I love the fact that this is like a sneaky victory, even if we didn't need it. Sacrificial Skaven Slaves holding the ground while we achieve our objectives. The bad said objective isn't detonating a nuke in the center of the city or something, but we'll work on it. There will be nukes aplenty in this campaign, I'm sure. Alrighty, and let's see. Oh, one of the units came back here. Well, they're gonna run directly into all these weapons teams. And maybe we'll get the shot off, although maybe the slingers will bring them down before they do. We shall see in a few seconds, though the battle is pretty much over as well. Oh, these halberdiers are actually going to run in. Well, that's cute. I guess I was hoping that the slingers would bring them down. Oh well, they're wavering now though, so maybe the weapons teams can target something else here. Not that once again they really need to. We're just trying to move deeper into the city, and in fact the attacker victory tickets are going to max out, and the battle will be ours just like that. Very minimal losses for attacking a walled city with the Skaven Slaves, though we did manage to tunnel in and win it the Skaven way, so... yeah, hopefully we'll escalate to an even more difficult battle next. Man, I'm still 90% sure that that was unintentional from the game coming into the city like that, but isn't it just delicious that the city was taken via tricksy Skaven, well, trickery, and instead of just straight up assaulting the walls, though Ikit did succeed at assaulting the walls as well. Nice 20,000 damage due to his flamethrower and his warp lightning spam alone. Very nice job, buddy. Now we're obviously going to occupy the place, and with very little damage even to our Skaven Slaves. Now, obviously we want to take this at tier... Oh, we can't take it at tier 4. Well, I guess that doesn't matter. We need to take it at tier 3 to get the workshop, correct? We could also sack it, but the problem is we are out of movement points. If we sack it, we'd have to attack it again, so we have no choice but to loot and occupy. What happens if we raise? We'll lose the turn, and then Ikit will move away, so we won't be able to occupy. Yeah, we want to take it this very turn, even though there's some nice stuff. So, loot and occupy.
More lab nests here.
At tier 3, got ourselves another man-thing slave, which I guess we can give to Charge Lock over here. Ancillaries, man-thing slave. I do have to wonder whether our Shadow Magnet trinket did help us a little bit. Missile block chance plus 12 ain't much, but it is something. Alrighty, maybe it'll help Ikit as he runs towards the walls. Now that we've done that, we will also need to get more Skaven slaves here. And on top of that, how are we looking here? Ooh, expansionist planning, I forgot. You need to go back to exploitative planning. Miragliano, ah yes, a port that actually has the tooltip. Repair you, it's not crazy expensive, and let's immediately build the construction cavern to get plague claw catapults and potentially more warlock engineers. In addition, I remember building these warpstone reactors everywhere, so much extra money, but it's not something that we can do right now. We probably want to build the rubbish pit. This is rubbish pit, right? Yeah. And then we'll obviously just delete it afterwards. Though it'll give us a little bit of cash. Oh no, we gotta build the Blackcorn Swamp. Hey, that's what I was talking about in the early game. Yeah, well, early game. This is all, we're on turn 3 here, and I'm talking about the early game at the start of the episode. Blackcorn Swamp, yeah, that's a decent amount of food, growth, etc. It does mean we won't be able to build the rubbish pit. We can build it next turn at Skaven Blight instead. Or Tobaro if we level up Tobaro, but we're probably just going to abandon it, or even allow Astalia to take it. I don't really care. I am curious to see whether these guys are going to attack or defend Rifrafa. In fact, where is your army? You clearly have an army, judging by the balance of power. That's kind of interesting. Also, Warheart of the Shadow gave. No non-aggression, eh? And they won't do anything for money, because, well, they're kind of annoying. Broken Nose will be dead shortly to Clan Angrand. Parts of Sartosa are our only potential friends here, but we won't do it. I think they might be in ambush to try to attack at Rifrafa, and if they do, and if Ikit is in range of Rifrafa, we might immediately attack them as well. In that light, we will still need to build up units. So, get 2 more Skaven Slaves and 2 more Slingers, like so. We should also probably level you up. Definitely Root Marcher now. And we could probably use Inspiring Presence. Yeah, I want another point in Warp Lightning, but then we probably need this if we're going to fight Aranessa. Or do we? Or do we get the extra cooldown on the Warp Lightning? It's just so spammable, damn it. And we also obviously want to go through through this tree as fast as possible to get Second Wind Serum. Has anybody ever gotten Adrenaline Rush instead of Second Wind Serum? Anybody? Anywhere? Ever? Somehow I doubt it. Doomsday Scientist to upgrade the Brass Orb, which is quite useful as well, to be fair. Let's get Inspiring Presence for now, and then we'll go Warp Lightning afterwards. And just in case. I doubt that we'll need it, but who knows. You have also leveled up, but you don't need to move this turn, so we can send you out next turn. And you're also level 3 now. We may even use you for another turn, though I'll see. As for where I'm going to send this guy, I probably should have discussed that. We're going to send him to Castle Drakenhof. I think that's one of the easy gold mines that's relatively close to us, and we will be generating a decent amount of money from it. Now, we also have our food in not the best place, although it should go back to orange shortly, and we need to make sure that we somehow get 40 by the time we get to Sartosa. May even try to raid a little bit. Maybe we'll siege Sartosa until we get enough food here to take it up to tier 3. Getting a little bit ahead of myself, but hey, it's Skaven here. All about that scheming. And I believe we're about to end the turn, yes? Unless I'm forgetting something. Nothing to do in the workshop. Still regret using that warp fuel a little bit, but oh well. Also, you need to get your Root Marcher so that you can follow along. Although I suppose we could put you into March stance, but it's all good. Alrighty, let's end the turn, see if anything interesting happens, and see what happens with the remnants of Telia as well as with Sartosa here. Something happened, but it doesn't look like Sartosa's attacked them yet. But I do imagine they will, and when they do, that's when the rats will come out of the ground. Something happened there. Now, they're still alive. But Aranessa's right there. Oh, has she sacked it? She has indeed. She sacked it and she's damaged, and thus unable to heal. Though the problem is... The thing that concerns me about this is she might be able to actually run away. Unless we get a successful ambush. But we gotta give it a try. This will be a pretty good culminating battle for this episode, and it may actually be a decent opportunity to use our nuke. A little bit early, but it'll basically cripple the faction and allow us to proceed down to Sartosa town without them being able to do anything. Yeah. I think that's the way we do it. Also, let's immediately upgrade that fetid grain stash. Gotta get that growth up and running. 2 turns until we get the construction cavern. We also want to immediately get the... Where are you? Here. Weapons dump. So if we can get an early couple of warp fire throwers and maybe a warp grinder or 2, depending. We can also build more money here, though we do have to be careful about going overboard. A little bit tempted on the Taskmaster's platform. But also get the poison wolf rats. But we could probably go without. 7.2k is a little bit expensive on this, though the growth here should be sufficient to upgrade Skaven Blight in 5 turns, so that's fine. And I don't want to upgrade any of this. Ooh. It is also tempting to try to get a chieftain early. Let's see. This will give us 70 money per turn. This will give us no additional growth. It will reduce the cost. And actually, while we're here... You know what, yeah, let's build a rubbish pit first, and then we'll delete it, and then replace it. And we'll probably get the Taskmaster's platform up and running as well, because the negative growth from the negative control is kind of a problem. Especially as we have low growth in the first place. Okie dokie, well, here's what we do. You are going to march right up to Aranessa. Right there. And then Ikit is going to try to attack her directly, and then hopefully we can get this battle actually going. I don't know if it'll actually work or not, but hey. I'd love to find out. Oh, non-aggression pact. Nobody to trade with for attacking her, though. And for this one battle, we will keep keep Bale Quint around. It'll cost him an extra turn in terms of heading to... Southern Sylvania to get to that Undercity setup, but it's okay. It'll allow the AI to build up a little bit. And yeah, there's like, I think a 10-turn cooldown between Undercities. We'll see. Hopefully Ruinous doesn't run. That'll be the most annoying thing, but who knows. Maybe it'll work. Come on. Alright, come on, Ikit, you got this, buddy. I believe in you. Don't run, Aranessa. Yes. Well, it wasn't an ambush, but her army is badly damaged, and this looks to be in our favor. In fact, even the auto-resolve suggests it's in our favor. We may not even need to use the nuke here. And maybe even save it for the attack on Sartosa itself. We shall see. She does have a decent amount of those Sartosa militia, and if we don't kill them, they will, well, be alive. In that they won't crumble apart like undead. We'll have to try to give chase. What's our base running speed? At 36. Regular Skaven slaves run faster than them. Alrighty, well, let's get to this. One more cinematic battle to round out this episode. All he said was okay. Well, I guess it'll have to be okay then. Here we go, Aranessa. Looks like we've got an escalation of battles starting at Tilbaro, moving to Miragliano, a little bit more difficult with that settlement battle, and then finally against a proper army in the form of Aranessa's Sartosans. Lovely. We are going to start by focusing down the enemy deck gunners here, the most threatening units on the field aside from Aranessa herself, with our Warplock Juseas, who seem to be assassinating them quite nicely. These are, I guess, the sort of equivalent units that the enemy has. especially with regards to their range, but they're going to drop very quickly to our assassins. They do have a second unit of those here, but it is a little bit too far, and the angles aren't really working for us. Speaking of the angles, I deployed our army in such a way where the hills are actually hiding most of our army, other than Ikit himself, from direct fire shots from the enemy, whereas our own range units are here on hills where they can actually fire. So this, I think, is going to work out pretty well for us, especially since the entire enemy army pretty much is a bunch of ranged units. Also missed it, but we did pop a brass orb on a bunch of Sartosan militia, as we can see here, and it hit and damaged these 3 units pretty darn badly, as we can see, though impressive that they did survive. They were also pretty damaged from the start of the battle, I guess. Anyway, continue waiting. In fact, if I were to play this battle again, I probably would have moved these Skaven Slave Slingers up just a little bit further up behind this hill, rather than the second set of hills. But it's okay. I don't think it'll make much of a difference either way. Alrighty, moving the rest of our range forward. Warplock Jezzails once again working it. And I can't wait to get a few more Warplock Jezzails in these armies. You gotta love the unit. Especially because of their range and their effectiveness at assassinating not just single targets. As we can clearly see, they're pretty good against just random elites like those other units as well. The deck gunners, I mean. And here we go, the Rattling Gunners let their, well, I was about to say let loose, or well, let's go with let loose. Let fire, let roll, let their drums roll. As in the drum magazines. And these guys were a little bit out of range because of this kill. I was hoping to hit this unit, I think, but it's okay because our warp flares are here to do that work for us. Gotta silence all the enemy's guns, so we're just going to focus down any enemy range units that we can. Also, obviously, gotta get our Skaven Slave Slingers attacking all these units and focusing them down to prevent them from attacking our elites. As we can clearly see, all the enemies that are being focused by our range are getting pretty badly beat up, and the victory is already in our grasp. We've also summoned a unit of clan rats via the menace below to attack the enemy deck gunners here and prevent them from doing anything as well, and that's the second unit of deck gunners essentially off the field. We got reinforcements arriving as well, but it doesn't look like we'll be needing them, though maybe they'll be in time to do something with regards to this battle. Let me send some scurvy dogs directly into some Skaven Slave Spears, and I do imagine that these guys are dead. Much more threatening, though, is these units of rotting Prometheans, which our Skaven Slave Spears are probably not going to be able to deal with. Fortunately, once our Warplock Jezzails are done, they're going to move around the army like this to focus down those rotting Prometheans and assassinate them as well. Otherwise, it looks like Ikit's getting a little bit of a duel going with Aranessa in the center of the field here. Although the purpose of this wasn't just to duel Aranessa, or, oh, you gotta love those flip attack animations, though. Ikit, as well as the Warlock Engineer here, were here to distract more enemy units and prevent them from reaching our range line, as is the standard operating procedure for Skaven gun lines. And there we go. Plus, bunching up enemies on top of our Skaven Slaves and our Clan Rats, and then dropping their Warp Lightnings on them. There we go. Still nobody has reached our gun lines. Gonna get a little bit of a rattling gun attack on Aranessa, as well as the zombie pirate gunnery mob, or at least they're gonna switch to Aranessa as soon as these guys are dead. And it looks like the rattling guns are cleaning units up pretty well here. And in fact, it looks like this unit was actually getting hit while we were aiming the gunnery right. I gotta remember to try to position things. This worked out quite well, as it seems sometimes several units are being hit at the same time by shots that go through units. In addition, as we can see, the enemy rotting Prometheans are getting very badly beat up now that those Warplock Jezzails are gunning them down. And the enemy army will be out of the picture very shortly. Well done, everybody. And looks like those Skaven Slave Slingers are dishing out nice damage as well. Our Warlock Engineer is a little bit hurt, but as long as he survives, that doesn't matter at all, because we're going to get him out of this army fairly shortly as well to go and establish our first Undercity. Can't wait too long, as obviously with the cooldown. And there we go, looks like the last of those units are routing, and the battle once more is ours. Sorry, Aranessa. Now we just gotta gun down her troops as best we can. There's both a downside and an upside to fighting the Sartosan militia. On the one hand, the Sartosan militia are going to run away, and thus if we don't chase them out or kill them before they run off the map, they will survive. On the other hand, the regular undead units will all melt and die, but they can rise again. So sometimes it's better to be facing off against militia who will survive, as long as you have units that are faster, and ours are by far faster than they are. Well, maybe not by far, but are certainly, I should say, faster than they are, and won't survive. Doomflayer is still chasing around a unit, and I believe pretty much everybody's done. Did that gunnery wight escape, or did it get gunned down? I'm not entirely sure, but pretty much the entire enemy army is destroyed, and I'm definitely happy with the result and the crippling of this particular faction. Alrighty, I'm pretty darn happy with that. 250 losses, so certainly some, but also certainly not a lot. Certainly something that I just keep saying certainly, something that we can live with, especially as all the losses were pretty much Skaven slaves. A decent amount of damage out of all of our weapon teams, though I think the Doom players could have done a little bit more, despite the fact that they were fighting the entire time. Now, 2 food is probably not worth it for this time. We do have to still immediately attack the settlement here, though I'm not entirely sure whether it has units in it or not, which kind of makes me want to take the money instead. Though if we eat the captives, we'll be at full HP, but, you know, presuming that we actually take the settlement, we'll be pretty much at full anyway, so it won't make much of a difference. Though there's no guarantee that we actually can reach the settlement in one go. Damn. Nah, I guess we'll risk it. It's only Skaven slaves that we can rebuild after all, if we need to. So let's sell them off. We can't chase the rest of this army down anyway. There are still a few units left, and don't tell me the gunnery wight survived. Yeah, he did. That's a little bit annoying, but what can you do? And do we still need to fight this? We sort of do. We sort of do. You know what? I think this is where we're going to leave off. We're certainly out of time, and I do think that we should probably fight this manually in order to reduce casualties as much as possible. I especially don't want the auto-resolve hurting Ikit and Balequint here, though before taking the territory, we're actually going to send Balequint off, and we're going to send him around this way, I think, so that he doesn't come into contact with too many more units. So, oh, wait. Would it be faster to go by water or by land? Not entirely sure. Actually, might be faster to go by land this way. Yeah, alrighty. And Balequint, you can leave the army immediately and start heading off to Castle Drakenhof. And there we go. With that, oh, you're really gonna go all the way around like that? That's really the fastest route. Okay, well, I guess the AI knows better, but we don't need him for this fight. Anyway, as I said, gonna call it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that fairly strong start, I would think, as we did manage to destroy quite a few of our immediate enemies. Sartosa's basically done already. Yeah, they'll build up some armies, but I think we can take these territories fairly quick, and certainly before they can recover, and especially if they keep a second army outside of its settlement, as we'll be able to draw out the garrison. But anyway, we'll leave that to the next time, as well as the use of hopefully our nuke somewhere around here. So stay tuned for more Skaven. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. Fair, friendly neighborhood heretic. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.